In the autumn of 1192 AD, the priests ordered the entrance sealed before sunrise. No explanation was given. Before the people of Cahokia awoke, hundreds of workers carried basket after basket of tools toward a newly uncovered stone staircase hidden beneath Monk's Mound. The command was simple and absolute: bury the entrance. Leave no trace that it had ever existed. Those who had seen the opening were sworn to silence, and anyone who questioned the order was turned away. Yet one mystery remained. What had the priests discovered beneath their sacred mound that terrified them enough to hide it forever? This is Echoes of Time. Please like and subscribe if you find this story interesting. For generations, the highest priests had guarded an ancient tradition known only to a chosen few. They believed that beneath Monk's Mound rested a forgotten sanctuary, built long before Cahokia itself, a place where the legendary first healers preserved extraordinary knowledge of medicine, healing, and human life. According to their tradition, this hidden chamber was never meant to be opened, for the wisdom it contained was considered both a blessing and a burden. Then, during one of the city's greatest construction projects, workers struck a staircase carved from enormous stone blocks, unlike anything found in Cahokia. News reached the temple before sunset, and by nightfall, 7 high priests stood before the mysterious entrance. Carrying only oil lamps and their sacred vows, they descended into the darkness below, leaving the people of Cahokia waiting through the longest night of their lives. When dawn finally arrived, the priests emerged in complete silence. Their faces had changed. They offered no explanation, only one command: seal the entrance forever. What they had seen beneath Monk's Mound would remain buried, and with it, a secret that could change history itself. Several weeks before the entrance was buried, work continued on top of Monk's Mound. Every day, hundreds of workers carried their building instruments to make the great mound even larger. It was hard work, but nothing unusual had happened. Then, late one afternoon, everything changed. One worker suddenly hit something solid beneath the ground. It was not wood or packed soil. It was smooth stone. As more dirt was cleared away, the top of an ancient staircase slowly appeared. The steps disappeared into deep darkness, and a cool breeze drifted up from below. News of the discovery quickly reached the temple. Before sunset, the 7 highest priests arrived at the mound. They stood quietly around the staircase, carefully studying every stone. The oldest priest gently placed his hand on the wall, as if he had been waiting for this moment all his life. Without saying much, he ordered every worker to leave the area. Guards were placed around the opening, and no one was allowed to come close. As night covered the city, the priests prepared for their journey. They put on their ceremonial robes, lit their oil lamps, and offered a final prayer before stepping onto the ancient staircase. One after another, they disappeared into the darkness beneath Monk's Mound. The people waiting outside watched the light from the lamps grow smaller until it vanished completely. Then everything became silent. The priests did not return until sunrise. When they finally climbed back to the surface, dust covered their robes, and their faces looked pale with shock. They refused to answer a single question. Instead, the oldest priest looked at the workers and spoke only one sentence: "Seal the entrance. No one must ever go below again." From that moment, the greatest secret beneath Monk's Mound belonged to the earth once more. But what the priests had seen in the darkness would remain hidden for centuries. The 7 priests stood in silence as their oil lamps lit the first chamber beneath Monk's Mound. The room was much larger than they had imagined. Its walls were built from smooth black stone, untouched by time. Strange symbols covered every surface, carefully carved in long rows. Along the walls stood shelves holding polished bowls, sharp obsidian blades, copper tools, and objects no one could identify. It was clear this was not a tomb. It was a place where knowledge had once been protected. As they walked deeper into the chamber, they made another discovery. Several stone tables held the skeletons of men and women who had been carefully laid to rest. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Then one of the priests noticed a large crack across the skull of one skeleton. Instead of showing signs of death, the bone had completely healed. Another skeleton had a broken leg that had grown back perfectly straight. One by one, they examined the remains and found the same thing again and again. These people had survived terrible injuries that should have ended their lives. Near the center of the chamber stood 6 large stone chests. With great effort, the priest pushed aside the heavy lids. Their lamps reflected off bright yellow metal stacked neatly inside. There were gold masks, necklaces, bracelets, cups, and small statues, all made with incredible skill. Beneath the treasure rested several thin gold plates, covered with tiny symbols. None of the priests could read the writing, but they knew they were looking at something far more valuable than gold. Then the oldest priest raised his lamp toward a narrow doorway at the far end of the chamber. Unlike everything else they had seen, this doorway had been sealed with a massive stone slab. A single symbol had been carved into its center. The priests looked at one another in silence. They had already found enough to change the history of Cahokia, but they could not ignore what waited behind the final door. For a long moment, no one moved. The oldest priest stepped toward the sealed doorway and carefully placed his hand against the cold stone. After whispering a short prayer, the 7 men pushed together until the heavy door slowly began to open. As it moved aside, a rush of cold air escaped from the chamber beyond. Their lamps revealed another room, larger than the first, its walls lined with tall stone shelves filled with objects that had remained untouched for centuries. The priests looked around in amazement. Gold filled the chamber. Beautiful masks rested on carved stone stands beside necklaces, bracelets, crowns, and cups made from pure gold. Small statues of men and women stood neatly arranged along the walls, their surfaces shining in the light of the oil lamps. Large clay jars overflowed with gold ornaments, while several heavy chests held bars of bright yellow metal stacked one upon another. No one in Cahokia had ever seen such wealth. But the treasure was not what held the priest's attention for long. Resting upon it were dozens of thin gold plates, each covered with tiny carvings that told the story of the first healers. The pictures showed people treating the sick, repairing broken bones, and saving lives using methods far beyond anything the priests had ever known. They realized the gold had never been the true treasure. It had simply been placed there to protect something far more valuable. The oldest priest closed his eyes for a moment before looking at the others. He understood that if the people of Cahokia discovered this chamber, they would see only the gold and ignore the wisdom it protected. Greed would soon replace respect, and the sacred place would become nothing more than a prize for powerful men. Without another word, the priests made their decision. Everything beneath Monk's Mound would remain hidden, forever. The 7 priests left the hidden chamber carrying nothing with them. They did not take the gold, the ancient tools, or the golden plates. They believed those treasures did not belong to any king or any generation. Some knowledge was meant to be protected, not possessed. Before leaving, the oldest priest carefully closed the great stone door, knowing it might never be opened again. When they reached the surface at sunrise, the workers were already waiting. The priests gave only one command: seal the entrance. Let no one speak of what lies below. Without asking questions, hundreds of workers started covering back the mold until the ancient staircase disappeared beneath the growing mound. By the end of the day, every sign of the hidden chamber had vanished. Life in Cahokia returned to normal, and the great mound continued to rise toward the sky, as though nothing extraordinary had ever happened. Centuries passed, the city slowly faded, its people disappeared, and the forests covered what remained. Yet beneath Monk's Mound, the forgotten chamber, the gold, and the wisdom of the first healers remained hidden beneath the earth. And perhaps that is the greatest mystery of all. Was the greatest treasure beneath Monk's Mound the gold, or the knowledge that an entire civilization chose to bury forever? Years passed, and the secret beneath Monk's Mound remained buried. The 7 priests never spoke of what they had seen, and the workers who sealed the entrance carried their silence to the end of their lives. As new generations were born, the story slowly faded into legend. People remembered that the mound was sacred, but no one remembered why. Time continued to move forward. The great city of Cahokia slowly emptied. Its busy streets became quiet, and its wooden buildings disappeared. Wind, rain, and growing forests covered the land. But Monk's Mound remained standing, watching over a secret hidden deep beneath its earth. The chamber of the first healers, the gold, and the ancient knowledge remained exactly where the priests had left them. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not whether the hidden chamber still exists. Perhaps the real mystery is whether those ancient priests made the right choice. If they had brought the treasure and knowledge into the world, history might have changed forever. Instead, they chose silence over glory and wisdom over wealth. And if one day another staircase is uncovered beneath Monk's Mound, would humanity protect the secret? or repeat the mistakes the first healers feared long ago? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this archaeological mystery, don't forget to subscribe for more stories exploring ancient civilizations, hidden treasures, and the forgotten secrets buried beneath history.